How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the channel. So Paradox released the manual for the Dharma update, and since this update has so many different features, I thought I would go over it and see what they are and what they look like, because I am really excited about this one. So Dharma update, obviously it rotates around the Indian subcontinent. That's the focus. Okay, so first is the government reforms. This looked really interesting. We are not going to read everything. It's a lot. It's a 42-page document. It's going to take a while. So in sum, government reforms are intended to further enhance sensation that you're creating your national. Okay, we can take a number of reform steps with 2 to 3 options within each step. Okay, you can choose new reform once you have accumulated enough government reform progress points. So each nation gets 10 points per year, multiplied by variable related to the level of autonomy in your province. Oh, less autonomy you give your provinces, the more quickly you can choose new reform. Interesting. So sometimes you raise your autonomy after conquests in the provinces. That would not help. So it has to be lower autonomy. Interesting. That's fair. Okay, each reform steps cost more than the previous step. The first reform is free. All right, so you start the game, you choose a reform. Okay, you may change reforms that you've previously chosen, but at a very heavy cost. And today they released their dev diary, and they said it was 10 corruption. That's a lot of corruption. You have to be careful what you choose. Reforms also interact with new policy and state system, opening up free policies for your nation, giving additional bonuses. You'll be prompted when a new reform is available. That's fine. Okay, oh, there's a nice graphic there. Okay, you get the second reform by 1463. It's pretty early. I guess we can get them done pretty soon. Well, let's look. Charter companies. Hold on. You can find a list of each government type and the possible reforms in an appendix at the end of this manual. Okay. All right. Appendix. Different government types have different reforms associated with them. So monarchies. We'll start with monarchies. The first reform: 25% more income from vassals or 10% lower cost of unjust demands in peace deals. I mean, that's pretty good. I would almost always go for autocracy here because income from vassals is okay, but only when you're really playing like a vassal swarm. You're playing as Austria or Muscovy, or you're playing a tall Prussia with a lot of vassals. But the 10% lower cost, that'll save you a lot of diplo points in peace deals. I would go for autocracy. And there are a bunch of these for each individual nation. So we won't go through this right now. We'll look at it when, when we play those nations in future videos. We'll look at the general stuff right now. Okay, so it also depends on religion, if you're Buddhist, culture. Okay, all right. So second reform, 15% manpower, 10% taxes. All right, both are good. You can choose either one depending on what you are lacking at that point. Then second reform, there are more specific reforms for Indian Muslims, Mughals. Okay, let's look at the third reform. 0.05 bonus to reduction of provincial autonomy. That's pretty great. And the sooner you reduce the autonomy, the more reform generation points, or whatever it was called, you can get. So you can get the next reform faster. So that's pretty good. +2 accepted cultures. Okay, necessary, but you can get an age objective fulfilled in the age of absolutism with this one. But I would almost always go for a centralized reform, I think. Fourth reform, +1 free admin policy. Okay, that's great. I looked at it briefly and they have a new policy system. So this is huge, actually. You save 1 admin point at all times. That is great. Leaders cost less. Okay. Advisors cost 10% less. All three are good, but I will almost always go for the free admin policy. So you're playing a vassal swarm with the vassal policy earlier, and then you can get the admin policy for 20% diplo cost reduction for no admin points. That is huge. Fifth reform enables parliament. Oh, interesting. -1 unrest. Wow. Okay, so you can get parliament for any monarchy now. That is interesting. With parliaments, you can get a lot of different things going on there. Really opens up a lot of options for you. I'll have to look at it closer. I haven't played parliamentary that much, so I don't remember top of the head what are the different perks you can get by passing the parliamentary reforms. But you pass debates, and then you bribe the states and things like that. And then if it doesn't pass, then you get -20 prestige. That's all I remember. But it's very interesting that they open up to all the monarchies. Yes, I might go for it. +5 max absolutism. Fantastic. Great. Army tradition decays 0.05 more slowly. Pretty good. 10% production efficiency. Great. -10 stab cost. Enables statist versus monarchist mechanics. Don't know what that is. But yeah, the fifth reform seems pretty darn strong. I would either go for army tradition decay or parliament, just because playing with parliaments with different monarchies would be kind of interesting. Sixth reform is +5 maximum states. Okay, And then minimum autonomy in territories reduced to 10%. Yes, please. +5 maximum states also helps with the religion conversion, because so far it is understood in the new update is that you cannot convert provinces that aren't states. The +5 maximum states will help with that, definitely. But minimum autonomy reduced by 10%, pretty strong. 7th reform or +5 max absolutism, that's +10. If you take that and this, and absolutism increased by 0.1, +10 absolutism, max absolutism is pretty strong. If say you're playing as Ottomans, you're like, I don't want to fire court and country disaster. +10 max absolutism is pretty darn good. And then you get absolutism 0.1 per year, and then you can get more absolutism by doing, strengthening government and harsh treatment, increasing stability, and then you can also get +1 with the age ability. Maybe you don't need to fire the court and country disaster that often. Interesting. +1 possible administrative policy. Okay, you can do 3 policies now. You can take 3 admin, 3 deploy, and 3 military. But does that mean you can take 4 admin? Because that is pretty good. And then you can change your government to republic or change your government to theocracy. I wonder if this would still cause stab hits like crazy. Probably would. I would think so. I would choose the first or second one here. Depends on what you're going for. You can change it to republic or theocracy depending on what stab hit you get there. All right, republics. In EU4, Republican leaders are usually chosen every 4 years, right? That's the thing. Okay, so first one is 5% tax income or enables trade posts, trade leagues, and Republican factions. +1 merchant, -10 max absolutism. All right, so if you're playing as a republic, you are usually okay with losing absolutism because you're not going to blob like crazy when you're a republic. You're, more focused, you're playing kind of tall. So I would actually, oh, there's a third option, never mind. 0.25 army tradition, 8-year terms for leaders. Oh, I don't know about that. I like the option to have every 4 years. So, you can re-elect them and get more monarch points because their stats increase by 1. So 8 years terms is kind of a lot. Yeah, I think I would go for the plutocracy reform. There are individual reforms for different targets. Second reform, -1 unrest, great. +1 bonus to one of candidates' abilities, can re-elect from ruling family. +1 bonus to one of candidates' abilities. Still great. All 3 are fantastic. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what I'll choose. It depends on the game, where I'm going in the game, but yeah, all these are pretty strong. Third reform, as republic, -10 to max absolutism, -1 years to leader's term of office. All right, that's +10 max absolutism, +1 year. All right, if I'm playing tall as republic, right, this is the one that I would go for. This is crazy. It's -1 year, that's 3 years term now. 3-year terms, -10 to max absolutism. So if say you're playing as Milan, right, Ambrosian Republic, so you start at -30 and then you get -40 and -50. You're already -50 here. That's a lot, but still, you're playing tall. You don't care about absolutism. Okay, 4th reform, state maintenance 25% cheaper. Okay, +5 max states. Okay, 10% global trade power. All right, all 3 are pretty on the same level, so you can go either way. Okay, 5th reform enables parliament. Okay, so you can get parliament as a republic as well, which is very interesting. I will have to look up parliament more to get used to it because I might choose the parliament since some of the countries I play. The parliamentary mechanic is kind of interesting. Or 10% cheaper to embrace new institutions. This is okay, I guess. I don't think it's super strong. I might actually, again, go for parliaments just to check it out. The 6th reform costs 15% less to increase stability or +1 diplomat. All right, +1 diplomat every time, almost every time, unless I'm really struggling with stability somehow. Remember, you can change them, but it costs 10 corruption, so you would rather not change them. But +1 diplomat seems like a pretty good policy there, or reform there, sorry. 7th reform, +1 admin policy possible, +1 diplomat. Okay, yeah, you can go either way depending on what you're trying to do with the game and what policies you're looking for. Both are pretty good. 8th reform, manpower recovers 10% faster, 10% increase to land force morale. All right, morale is awesome. 10% increase to morale, that is pretty great. All right, 9th reform, corruption reduced by 0.05 per year. Okay, +1 accepted cultures, pretty good. I think I would go for accepted cultures here. 10th one, change to monarchy, lose 4 reforms. Okay, change to theocracy, lose 6 reforms. Maybe they won't get stab hit. Maybe even in monarchies, you'll just lose reforms or something. I don't know, we'll have to see. And then +25 to max absolutism. Ooh, +1 admin free policy. All right, so So if you're playing tall, right, then you would go for this one. +1 admin, free admin policy is pretty great, I bet. Re-election cost 10% lower, it's pretty huge. You save a lot in Republican tradition. But if you want to blob a little bit, say you started as Milan, right here, Ambrosian Republic, -30 max absolutism. You get the +1 bonus to candidate's ability, and then you get +10 max absolutism here for 5 years term. That's not terrible. So you're already at -20. We're talking about absolutism. So -20 absolutism. And then you get +25, so you get +5 actually, which is huge. And then you convert Milan to Italy, and you can stay a republic as Italy, and then you get this extra morale. The Milan to Italy remaining republic is going to be pretty huge. I did that run a few weeks ago. I would rather do it again actually. Yeah, that sounds fun. All right, theocracies. First reform, +5% tax income, 20% lower cost to maintain forts. Both are meh. Either way. Second reform, +2 tolerance of own faith. Okay. 20% lower cost of demands in war. Okay, this is pretty good. I would almost always do the external mission reform here. Third reform, +1 prestige increase. Great. 10% land force morale. Great. +5% lower cost to develop province. I think I'm going to go for a land force morale here. Fourth reform, +1 free policy. Any free policy. Okay, that's pretty great. Cost 10% less to increase stamp. Okay. I would here go for the free policy. Free policy just seems really OP. Fifth reform, +0.1 increase in yearly absolutism. Pretty great. You can change to monarchy and lose just 2 reforms as opposed to republic. Alright, where you lose like 4 and 6. Here you lose 2 and 2. Alright. If you want to change to monarchy at that point, it'll be interesting to see if you start as Pope, kind of blobbing, and then you want to change to monarchy and do a world conquest, and like, why not? So you can do the change to monarchy, but this just seems yearly absolutism. It's pretty strong. Yeah, and then these are for Muslim theocracies, and the papal reform allows to make ruler into a general. Really? We can make Pope fight your battles? That's kind of crazy. Battle Pope right here. All right, tribal governments. 10% lower cost to core provinces, 20% income for vassals. Oh my god. Every time, CCR. Yes, please. Thank you. Second reform, 20% more manpower, 5% tax income. This one could go either way depending on what you're doing and where you are in the game. Third reform, 10% lower cost to increase stab, 20% lower cost of land force maintenance. Again, this could go either way. I think I would go with the land force maintenance. 20% is pretty significant. Fourth reform, +3 maximum states, +10 max absolutism. 5% lower cost to core creation increased. Oh my god. Okay, both these are pretty good, and someone will have to do math here and see which one is better, the +10 max absolutism or 5% lower on core cost creation. We'll have to figure that part out, which is better. Also, this would come in earlier too, right? Like we can use it for longer duration of game, the CCR. The 10% max absolutism will only kick in later in the age of absolutism. And then again, like you'll have to build up your absolutism to the max, then you'll get the benefit of it. I'm leaning towards the 5% lower CCR and increased stamp. Fifth reform, you can change your government to monarchy, republic, theocracy, or step horde. Native societies. Native societies cannot reform until they have formed a more regularized form of government. Alright, credits. Alright, so that was the government reform part. Wow, that is a lot. So this really changes the gameplay big time. I'm really excited to check this part out and see how it changes the game and how we play different nations with it. Alright, second is the charter companies and investments. Interested nations can now buy provinces from nations in trade company zones for purpose of setting up trade companies. This is done through a diplomatic action called charter company. Okay. Nations are more willing to sell you territory if your trade company, if you have friendly relations, if they have a lot of provinces and trust. They can only set up in the trade company region. All right, so that's how you buy it with money. Yeah, you give them money and you can buy a province. That's pretty strong. This gives an incentives for the colonizers to actually go out a bit early, like, you know, explore a little earlier and go to India and get some provinces from them before, you know, the Vijayanagar or Bahmanese or Ceylon, whoever's there, becomes too big and they won't sell it to you. But if you have just one province, that's all you really need to stage your conquest from there. So this makes it easier for the Europeans to conquer Indian lands. Now, how the Indians would react to that with the new Dharma update and all the buffs they're getting, it'll be interesting to see that. Alright, trade company investment. The ability to upgrade your trade company provinces with unique structures designed to strengthen both the trade company's value and an empire's overall strength while also giving you bonuses of native provinces in the area. Okay, there are 5 categories that can be built in area controlled by trade companies. Okay, there's also unique 1 per category that can be built once per trade region. All right, so you can build in each provinces, and there one you can build just 1 in 1 trade region. Okay, so first is company garrison plus 15% defensiveness. All right, defensiveness, supply limit, defensiveness, supply limit. And then this one part, okay, this is a unique one, plus 5 to land force limit. And how much does it cost to build these structures? Oh, here, 300, 600, and 1000 gold. I don't know if I want to pay that much money to get just defensiveness and supply limit, or even plus 5 land force limit. Yeah, this one doesn't seem very appealing to me, the company garrison. Harbor, plus 2 trade power. Okay, 25% production efficiency, plus 4 trade power company provinces in the area, 50% production efficiency to air provinces. Okay, yeah, these both are pretty good. I might pay 600 ducats or 300 and 600 ducats for them. Yeah, plus 2 naval force limit, not so much. So it seems like you can only get the next one, like pay 300 and then you can get the next one only if you have done the first one. But the unique one is just buy on its own. You can just spend 1000 ducats to buy it. That's how it looks like in this graphic. I don't know why the harbor is cost differently. The second tier is also 300. Maybe that's a thing. But when the game comes out, we'll know more. All right, local venture, production efficiency and goods produced. And then the unique one is 50% trade steering. Okay, all these are pretty good. Yes. Yes, I would buy these things in some areas. Pretty good. The next one, 25% tax to the company provinces, development and area. Okay, so development cost reduction and extra tax, pretty nice. 10% trade value to all trade and trade company, and 0.1 yearly army tradition. Oh my god, 0.1 yearly army tradition to the company. Okay, this one is OP. For 1000 ducats, you can get plus 1.1 yearly tradition. If you have multiple trade companies, you can just stack them together. Okay, that's pretty great. Yes, I like this one. I would almost always spend money on this. And then there's governance. 25% bonus to company provinces, manpower and sailors. Okay, manpower, sailors, and then ship construction costs for company owners reduced by 2%. That is not strong at all. But manpower and sailors, yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'll go for this always, but maybe. All right, next, estates. Yes, they have changed the estates a lot, I think. And yes, the estates are free now. They're not tied to the Cossacks expansion. Free estates, making them available to all EU4 players. So players who did not have Cossacks, who didn't have to deal with the estates, now they will have to deal with estates if you're playing 1.26. All right, free update. States no longer demand specific voice in your country, but provide province level bonuses if they're gun control. Okay, so they don't demand like minimum land. That's pretty great. And then they give bonuses for the province. Okay, that removing a state from power can cause loyalty problems, and they're still tied to disasters. Okay, so cause disaster. Cool. All right, so they have Indian specific estate system. All right, so one is Maratha caste. They replace the nobility for certain cultures. Removes manpower land force penalty associated with provincial autonomy. Okay, pretty good. If happy, if neutral, if angry. So I think it's 60% plus, 40 to 60%, and then below 40%. So if happy, country gets plus 10% cavalry compatibility. Okay, 0.5 yearly army tradition, pretty good. Province gets minus 100% missionary strength, 33% manpower, and 15% defensiveness. Okay, it's pretty good actually, yeah. And if neutral, just 0.5 army tradition, it's still nice. And if they're angry, country gets minus 1 yearly army tradition. Okay, it's good to at least keep them neutral. The plus 0.5 army tradition is pretty good. Also, the cavalry compatibility early game is great, like till mid game. All right, and then you can do interactions. You can hire discipline guy. You can get manpower, increase autonomy or loyalty and influence. Okay, and then military power, and then okay, so it's kind of similar to the nobility. Okay, Brahmin caste. So they replace the clergy, and they remove tax 5 modifier penalties. So if they're happy, country gets plus 20% tax, plus 0.5 to devotion gain, and 10% lower staff increase. Okay. Province gets plus 50% institution spread. Okay, this is good. I like this because right now in game, I think the institution spread slower. I feel like there's less options to increase the spread of institutions. You know, you can wait for other countries to offer you knowledge sharing that they introduced in the last update, but AI doesn't do it very reliably. Like, they will just do it sometimes, they won't. But this is good. 50% institution spread in certain provinces. You can target which provinces might get more institution spread. And then -2 unrest, that is pretty good. -100% mission restriction. That's obvious. Those are all good things. For Brahmin castes, it will be great if you can keep them happy. And then the Vaishya caste, they replace the merchant guild. Remove penalties for production, trade power, naval force limit, sailors. Country gets 10% lower advisor cost, 33% production efficiency. Province gets 20% trade value, 20% lower development cost. Okay, so just give all your center of trades to these guys. That is pretty great. That is pretty phenomenal. Okay, Diplo points, Master of Mint, gets ships. Oh, this is new. Limited war support, activate war taxes for 15 influence, 20-year cooldown. That's pretty neat. Yeah, instead of paying 50 military points, you can just do this instead. It's good. And then there's another Rajput caste, nobility estate in nations of Hindustani and certain cultures. Okay, they don't give you 0.5 yearly tradition as the Marathas, but they give you lower fort maintenance, so they're not as good. Manpower recovery is pretty good, I guess, but yeah, they're okay. Not as good as Marathas. Oh, they do give you elite Rajput forces though. Slower professionalism, decay, better discipline. Cannot have more regiments than Rajput provinces. Alright, they have special things here. They can give you some special units here, basically. And then they can even get plus 10% fire damage, plus 5% discipline, costs money and adds autonomy. Wow. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Right, there's Jan community, which replace merchant guilds for Indian Muslim rulers. Okay, 10% faster building construction, building lower cost, cheaper estate maintenance. Alright, this is not super strong. The construction is okay, but 10% faster and 10% cheaper, it's okay. It's okay. That's all it is. A Fangri country gets +1 to loan interest. Oof. Okay, we can get a Jan loan with special loan interest. Cool. Interest rate doesn't change after loan is taken. Pretty good. Increased loyalty, lower development costs, +1 tax base in random Jan province. Okay, so is that permanent? Because that is pretty good. We can build a Jan temple for +15 influence. You can lose 2 corruption, but that is good. You know, and you change some reform and you get like 10 corruption, so you can at least like lose 2 of it. All right, well, that was the estate, the new estates, and it'll be free for people who don't buy Dharma updates as well. I don't think they'll get the special Indian estates, but they'll get the usual estates, which is pretty neat. I think estates are neat. Alright, Mughal Empire, polyglot nation, so they have their own update. Okay, it's just 1 page. Let's see what it is. They will now automatically accept a culture once the empire has conquered every province that is home to that culture. Oh, wow, you can really expand fast. So if the Mughals conquer all Gujarati provinces, Gujarat culture will be promoted to status of accepted. So I'm guessing that there won't be a accepted culture number limit. Like, you can just accept all cultures, just keep conquering them. Local cultures that accept will bring permanent bonuses to the empire. Alright, well, what are the permanent bonuses? We don't know that yet. I might have to go and check back one of the development diaries if they mentioned that earlier, but this is great. We are playing Mughal sometime soon. Rebel suppression. You can assign an army to a region where it will use its rebel suppression power to reduce the growth of rebel power in every province held to patrol. Alright, so you can tell it to patrol in like 3 provinces and it'll go and make sure they don't spawn. That is pretty good. Let's see how the AI actually works it, if it actually, you know, if it works well. But if it does, then it'll be a pretty neat thing to do, which you can automate and you don't have to worry about microing your army around. Centers of trade progression. Okay, I read about this in one of the earlier dev diaries. I remember that. So now you have the ability to upgrade your trade centers in your provinces. Once you upgrade, they get trade power, other bonuses. Once a trade center hits level 3, these bonuses are applied to the entire state where the center of trade is located. Okay, you can have only as many level 3 trade centers as you have the number of merchants. Wow, so if you're playing as a colonizer, you'll have a bunch of merchants because, you know, you get merchants from your colonial nation and trade companies. So you can have a lot of level 3 trade centers. Might also try out Portugal and for one of these guides. It'll be interesting to see how much money they make. Creating a center costs gold. It is done from building menu. Okay, it's right here. How much does it cost? 1,000. 1,000 ducats to increase from 2 to 3. I'm guessing 1 to 2 is still 1,000 ducats. But okay, coastal. For coastal, level 1 is +5 trade power. Level 2 is plus 10 trade power, 5% cheaper development, 10% faster institution spread. I like this. I like this a lot. Level 3, 30% faster institution spread. Good. Because like I said, the institution spread is not, you can't control it as well in current patch. So now you have a little bit more control over it. 25% trade power in level 3 is pretty great. 0.25 naval tradition is sure. Whatever. No one cares about naval tradition. Level 3 coastal hubs add state bonuses of +1 building slot per province, plus 100% sailors and 10% lower development cost. Alright, I was thinking like this is 5%. Where did the development cost go? But here it is. Alright, pretty good. So to the whole state. This applies to the whole state. Awesome. For inland trade hubs, plus 5 trade power, plus 10 trade power. Okay, it's the same. So you don't get naval tradition. That's the only thing. And then instead of the 100% sailor, you get 33% manpower. Okay, sure. Yeah, this is interesting. I would pay 1,000 ducats to get the 25 trade power. That's pretty good. Policies. Policies have got a major rework, and they needed a major rework. Often underutilized and poorly understood. Yes, they are really underutilized. They have a new interface. Excellent. This is great. Let's read about it. New policy. Okay, all players will get it. It's not Dharma update. It's for everyone. With policies that make sense for power group assigned to. First policy in any of the 3 categories will be free. Huge. Absolutely huge. Additional policies cost monarch points. Alright, right now you can have 5 policies active, but with this one you can get 9 policies active, and then you can get the extra free policies from the government reforms, like extra +1 policies, so you can get a lot more, like 10 or 11. Yeah, this is huge. The policies I think are going to help a lot. Alright, scornful insults are delivered in the same manner as a normal diplomatic insult. You can click the box at the bottom of the menu. Spend 5 prestige. Devastating put down. Greatly offend the target. Improve relations with insulted nation's enemies. Ah, okay. In this great game we play, you are a mere pawn. That is not a scornful insult at all. What is this? Alright, I'll tell them how to write an insult. Yo, mama. So fat. I took a picture of her last Christmas, and it's still printing. That's how you do it. All right, so anyways so improve relations with insulted nations enemies. Okay, that is good. You can add another modifier. You're trying to ally one of the rival of your rivals. You can do a scornful insult for 5 prestige. Okay, cool. All right, settlement growth. You can use colonists to develop provinces. Colonists tend to working in non-colonial province chance to increase the development in a random category. Okay, so it's not a sure, it's a chance thing going on here. Okay, cost is the same as sending a colonist overseas. Okay, so it'll cost you money a little bit. Likelihood is dependent on how little development is already in place. All right, useful for 3 to 5 dev backwaters in your empire. That's pretty good actually. So now you can actually get exploration ideas and not do any, colonization. You can just improve your provinces. Say for like Russia, right? They have the Siberian front going on, but most of the provinces are so bad. If you want to play tall as Russia, why not? You can just go exploration, get a colonist and get them to increase the development of those backwater provinces. We'll have to see like what the chance is. 37.5% chance. And then how does this chance to scale with your global settler increase modifier, or is it just independent of it? It's interesting. We'll look at it when it comes out. This is also very interesting, but also it increases the usability of colonists. Once you're done colonization, you're like 4 colonists just sitting there doing nothing. So this is good. And then there are monsoons. Monsoons will slow down movement, high attrition. There's monsoon related events. Cool. And that's it. Wow, that was a lot. 42 pages. I am really excited about this update. Dharma update. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's coming out in 2 weeks. 1 week. Next week, I think. Yeah, next Thursday actually. 6th of September. Wow. All right. Well, we'll play a lot of games in that. We'll check out MUGHALs. We'll definitely check out MUGHALs. They seem to be really overpowered in this update for now. So we'll check them out. We'll check out the Indian provinces. And maybe one of the colonizers to see how other things play out. Maybe Portugal. Yeah, so that was fun. And Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.